One thing I like about these is you get a bed liner. Okay, so we have here a 2025 Ridgeline all-wheel drive Sport, and the total price $44,000. So let me know if you think that's worth pretty much $50,000 for a Honda Ridgeline. I'm not sure who their intended buyer is because you can imagine someone that's a Silverado driver or an F-150 driver is not going to be interested in a Honda Ridgeline, you know. So I'm not sure who this truck is marketed to, but like I said in the past, this is something my grandmother would drive. All right, so this one's 50 grand. 2025 Ridgeline all-wheel drive. Okay, so all right, so this one's 50 grand, and I wasn't expecting them to be that much. I'm sure that price will get even higher. Here's another one, $48,000, and this is a 2025 Ridgeline all-wheel drive. All right, so let's check out the Civics. And I see a lot of Civics driving around town, so this is a good selling vehicle, just like the Accord. And like I said before, it's always great to see sedans being sold and still on the road. So we have a 2025 Civic, and the total price is $29,000. So you guys let me know if you think that's kind of steep for a Civic. Do you think this should be more like 24 or 25? What do you think? Okay, so here's another, and this one is 33,000. So this is the hatchback, and this is the sedan, and it's the Sport Touring. $33,000. Yeah, that's pretty steep. All right, this one's 31. You get the 2-liter engine. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much Accord territory. You know, if I'm gonna spend 33,000 on a Civic, I might as well just upgrade to the Accord. You know, but I do like the way they look. Can't deny that. I like this color too. I think this generation Civic looks great. They're about the size of an Accord from the 90s actually. If you put one of these next to, let's say, a 94 Accord, they're about the same size. The Accord is probably a little longer, but as far as the width, and I'd say even the wheelbase, they're roughly the same size. All right, so speaking of the Accord, let's check it out. So we have here 2025 Accord EXL. All right, so the total price is pretty much $40,000. So again, let me know what you think. Would you spend $40,000 for an Accord? All right, granted that's the higher trim level, but still, would you spend that much for an Accord? All right, so we have a 2025 Accord 1.5 Turbo LX. Total price 29. All right, $30,000. All right, that's a little more reasonable. And it's locked. I can't show you the inside. So that's a little more reasonable. I wouldn't mind paying that for an Accord, but when you start talking $40,000, eh, I mean that's kind of steep. These new Accords, as far as size, they've grown a lot. You know, they're borderline full size cars. Not quite, but they're almost there. I would like to see how much they grow in the next generation. So this one's 33,000, and this is the 1.5 TSC. Okay, so that Civic we looked at, pretty much the same price, you know. So rather than spend that for a Civic, I just get the Accord. Even if it is the lower trim level, I'll just get the bigger car, you know. Now let's check out this Passport. I actually like what they did with the Passport. They made them look tough and rugged. Not sure if they really are tough and rugged, but they look like it, you know. So if you guys can see that, it's a 2026 Passport, and the total vehicle price is $46,000. All right, so when it's all said and done, you already know it's gonna be over 50,000. But not a bad looking SUV. All of these are locked, so I can't show you the inside. But not bad looking. I actually like the way they look up front. These are quite large too, looking at them head on. and it considered a mid-size SUV. All right, so let's check this one out. Okay, so we have a 2026 Passport Trail Sport, and this one's 57 grand. So yeah, pretty steep, pretty steep. And like I say, it's gonna be well over 60 grand when it's all said and done. But then again, it is a trail sport. I'm not sure who's gonna be taking these things off road, but all right, so this one's 50,000. So yeah, they're pretty pricey. Um, we'll check out the we'll check out the Odyssey, and then we'll check out the Pilots. In terms of price, the Passports are almost on par with the Pilots nowadays. There's not really much separation between them in terms of price. So we're gonna check out this Odyssey. There's a 2025 Odyssey Sport L, and the total vehicle price for this is $45,000. So again, let me know if you guys can justify paying $45,000 for an Odyssey. But like I said in previous videos, not many people are driving minivans like they used to. Back in the day, the 2000s, the 90s, you would see minivans all the time, but people rather just look cool because, minivans, they're not considered cool. So they rather just get an oversized SUV like the Honda Pilot. Rather than getting one of these, they'll just get a Honda Pilot that has a similar amount of interior space, you know, because the minivans, they lost their cool factor pretty much. So here's a 2025 Passport, and here's a 2026. So that's the difference between the two. And this one was $48,000. This one right here. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, so let's look at these over here. These are the Pilots. Let's see how much these are going for. And I'm actually surprised, there's not really much of a difference in terms of price between these models. All right, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it's a 2025 Pilot all-wheel drive EXL, and the total price is $51,000. $51,000. So, like I said, it's pretty much at a very similar price point as the Passport. So we have a 2025 Pilot two-wheel drive Sport, and the total price for this one is $44,000. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this one's $52,000. So yeah, I looked at Passports that are pretty much the same price as the Pilots. So I guess nowadays it pretty much just come down to style and preference because these vehicles have such similar price tags. You know what I mean? All right, so here's the CRV, and this is one of their best-selling models. I think this is actually the best-selling model. 2026 CRV Hybrid All-Wheel Drive Sport, and this one's $38,000. And that's what's happening. Like a lot of people will come in, check out an Accord, hop in one of these, and just drive off the lot in one of these rather than the Accord, since the price is somewhat similar. We looked at an Accord that was $38,000. So people will hop in one of these. These will be $38,000, and they'll just drive off the lot with one of these. But me, give me a sedan. I'll take a sedan any day. Okay, so this one is $40,000. It's very bright outside, so sorry if you can't see the price tag. All right, let's check this one out. There's a 2025 CRV Hybrid two-wheel drive Sport L, and this one is $39,000. So yes, very similar in terms of price with the Accord. So I spoke to another gentleman that worked here, and he said that that's usually the case. People will check out the Accord, then they'll check out this and just drive off the lot with this for whatever reason. People love their crossovers, but I mean, you still have loyal Accord buyers. Don't get me wrong. People that always had an Accord, they'll trade in their old Accord for a new one. But like, let's say if it's senior citizens that's car shopping, they might be interested in the Accord at first, but then they'll hop in the SUV crossover, whatever you want to call it, and they'll just leave with one of those instead. But the Accord is still selling good. Matter of fact, when I'm out in town, I see Accords all over the place. this new generation, and the Civics too. Now, the Accord and the Civic are the only two sedans that you can get from Honda. They no longer offer the Insight and they no longer offer the Clarity, which was ugly as hell anyway. So it's just the Accord and the Civic. However, they say they're bringing back the Prelude, so we'll just have to sit and see what happens with that. But they say they're bringing back the Prelude. Not sure what year. I hear 2026, or it might be a 2027 model. We just have to see. So that means they're going to have three different car options: the Accord, the Civic, and the new Prelude that's coming back. And who knows? They might offer another classic. Maybe they'll bring back the Insight. Who knows? Like I say, anything's possible in the auto industry. I didn't see any HRVs here. This lot was very limited. They didn't have that many models out here like they did in Central Florida. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this video. My verdict: the prices here were a little more than the prices in Central Florida. All right, so let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you on the next one.